Hi, I'm Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio. Today I'm going to be working on the cat's cradle quilt again, and today it's going to be the pieced blocks and the alternate blocks in the body of the quilt. Now I'm trying to get this quilt done, probably not today, but I'm trying to get it done the next few days because we're expecting some extremely cold weather with sub-zero temperatures again and 60-mile-an-hour winds. And if it hits zero, I'm not going to be able to quilt in my studio. So I hope I'll have some good pictures for you at the end, at least, of the blocks that I'm working on. And if I can't get the quilt done before the bad weather hits, then I'll show you a separate video of just details of the quilt. So I hope you stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, I'm going to start today with one of the alternate blocks, and this is the ones that I traced on using my light box. So it is similar to the setting triangles that I did. The setting triangles were kind of like this much of it, up this part here. This part was not on it. So I haven't quilted one of these yet, so I'm kind of trying to figure out my path on this. And the first couple, I'm not going to worry too much about doing this all in one pass. That's really never my goal, is to just to quilt everything all in one pass. But I think I'm going to start in here, and I am going to trace around that. I'll be coming back around and do this feather here, and then I'm going to break thread and do this side and do the teardrop, and then do this part here. So I do have a ruler that I can use if I feel like I need to have something to guide me through all of these curves. But I'm going to try and do this freehand. Well, it's already drawn, so it's not exactly freehand, but I'm going to try and do it without a template or a ruler, and see how that works. So I'm going to start here in the middle of this curl. And just secure my stitches there. Trying to decide where I want that to go. And I'm going to be in stitch regulated mode, and I am stitching at 10 stitches per inch. If you like more stitches per inch, then you just increase your stitches to like 12 stitches per inch, or whatever it is you like. And you notice I went ahead and stitched over those thread tails, and they just come right out. Then I'm going to go ahead and stitch over this to get to my first feather. Okay, I'll tie off here. Now I could have come on down and then followed this around. There are a lot of ways that you could do this without stopping and starting. I just really don't like backtracking. I just don't like the look because this is a heavier weight thread. Now if this was a 60 weight or even a 50 weight thread, I wouldn't get that thread buildup look that I don't like, but this is a 40 weight thread, so you can usually see that fairly good if you're stitching over something. I'll do the teardrop next, and then I'm going to do this curl. And now I think I'm going to go ahead and do this because it's just a short distance up there, so I'm going to go ahead and just come on up and do these feathers, and then I'll come back down and do these here. Okay, there's that top feather. Now all I have to do is this little feather plume in here. Okay, here we go, all done. And I'm gonna go get a wet sponge and wipe this off so that you all can see what this looks like without the markings on it. This is a new sponge, it's clean, hasn't been used for anything other than taking markings off of quilt tops. So I'm just going to press this down, and there's enough water in here that it will take these marks out. And I'm just rolling my machine right underneath it so that my extended base plate is underneath the sponge right there on the edge. So I'm not letting the water get down in the needle part, it's just on the edge there. So I've got something to work against. Now I will go ahead and spritz this quilt when I'm done and get all of these marks out. But for now, I think this will give you an idea of what this top looks like, or what this block looks like anyway. And when you do this, make sure you use cold water. You don't want to use hot water because that will just set the ink in instead of getting rid of it. So almost done. And I'm about out of water in my sponge too, so I don't think I can get much more than this done. So here we go. That's most of the marks. I still have several spots where it didn't come out yet, but there we go. There's the design. What I've gone ahead and done was, in the 3 solid blocks, is mark the center. And I just took this template here and just went from point to point, made a mark, and went this way and made a mark, and where they 2 cross is the center. Now I'm going to start in the center of this block, and I'm going to work out, because this block isn't so bad, but the 2 I did previously had some fullness in it, and starting in the center seemed to help pull in some of that fullness that was on the outside of the block and make things a bit easier. So I'm going to start in the center, and I'm just going to do a feather where all the points of the feather meet in the center. And I have no idea what the name of that design is, but I like to use it in these little blocks. And I was planning on doing some cross hatching in the background triangles, but I've decided I'm going to be sick of cross hatch by the time I get this outer border done, and I really don't want to do any more. So I'm going to do feathers in here. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do continuous curve in the pieced areas. Now I'm going to see how far I can get without stopping and starting. This is the third block of this that I've tried. In the second one I did pretty good without stopping and starting. As I've said previously, that really doesn't bother me, but for those of you who like to do that, I wanted to see if I could show you a way to get around this block without stopping and starting. Now with these little feathers that I am doing, there isn't any way to do that because they're going to start and end in the center of the design, so I'm going to have to break thread. But I think I can do the triangles and the piece triangles without breaking thread, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to do the feather, and then I want to cut my thread here. Now my plan is trying to get four feathers on each side. So this is feather number 1, and that's 2, and that's 3, and that's feather number 4 on this side, and feather number 1 for this side. So feather number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And number 1 is number 4. And why I do that is it kind of helps me space these feathers so that I know when I get to feather number 2, I need to take up about half of the space that I have here available to me. So I'm going to do this one. I'm just going to secure my threads. It's feather number 1. 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 2, and 3. Okay, one more of these to go, and then we'll see how far I can get without stopping and starting. Okay. Now I'm going to go over here and do a feather. And you can see there's a little bit of fullness here. Now I'm going to sneak over in the ditch, come to this one and do the feather. Okay, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to start the continuous curve. And let's see how we can do. I'm going to ditch over to here because I need to make sure I get up here too. So we're going to continue. Start doing the feather. And let's see, I'm going to come this direction. Okay, I'm going to have to ditch down. And I'm going to ditch across here. Now these feathers are going to go this direction. You can see these are going here. They're going up. These are going to go down. So I need to start. I'll be starting my little point at the same place, my little pearl. And I'm going to ditch over this direction. And this is going to go this way. There we go. My thread is very linty today. Okay, here we go. I think that looks pretty good. I did have to ditch a couple of times to get where I needed to go without breaking thread, but I think that's okay. The purpose of not breaking your thread is saving time, because over the course of your entire quilt, if you can break thread as little as possible, it's going to save you a couple of minutes or maybe even more. But sometimes I just get myself worked into a corner and I have no choice. So I don't worry about it. I don't kick myself because I can't get through the block or the whole top without breaking thread. And I just try to enjoy what I'm doing. So here we go. So I'm going to do a couple more blocks and just see how far I can get before it gets too cold down here. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my newest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.